Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking into a really intense story. It's about Lieutenant Jack Thompson, a former Navy SEAL, highly decorated. He tries to start over, build a new life, but it all just completely unravels. We're talking unhealed trauma meeting, well, systemic failure.
Yeah, and our main source here is the novel Dissident. It gives us this incredible detailed look at his path. It's not just a revenge story, though. It's more like dissecting a breakdown, step by painful step. We see these specific incidents pile up, pushing him over the edge.
Exactly. And that's our goal today, right? To go beyond just the plot points and really pinpoint those moments. What were the triggers? The specific events that made Jack Thompson, a guy who swore an oath, feel like throwing out the rule book was the only option left, like personal violent justice was just justified.
To really get that, you can't start in Pine Hollow, where he tries to settle down. You have to go back to Afghanistan. You absolutely have to understand the soldier before you can understand the vigilante he becomes. That trauma is key.
Right. The groundwork is laid with the Coast mission failure. That's where a young Army corporal died because of bad intel. And the source tells us this wasn't just a bad memory for Jack, it fundamentally changed his operating code. Failure just wasn't an option. Not on the menu, as he puts it.
That's crucial. For someone in his line of work, failure isn't just, a mistake. It can mean death for him, for his team. So when he comes back to civilian life, that zero-tolerance mindset, it doesn't just switch off. It makes every little setback feel potentially catastrophic. He's already wired incredibly tight.
And you see that same weight, that sense of absolute responsibility in the mission to capture Abdi Rashid. Okay, they got the intel important stuff about planned attacks, sleeper cells, but it was messy, chaos. Jack puts his own life on the line to save his teammate, Marcus Doc Sullivan, who was badly wounded.
And that forges an incredibly strong bond. It's built in that extreme environment where you literally depend on each other for survival. That line they share, "Scores never settle, Doc. Not with us." It's heavy. It's not just about enemies. It's about their loyalty to each other. Marcus is like the last piece of the only kind of family Jack really trusts anymore.
Okay, so Jack, Marcus, and Jack's wife, Sarah, who's pregnant, adding another layer of vulnerability, they move to Pine Hollow, supposedly for a fresh start. But they can't just leave the war behind, can they? Even in this quiet rural town, Jack's internal alert system is constantly flashing red. Hypervigilant.
Yeah, the source gives us that really concrete example. He's at a gas station, just a normal stop rate. But his heart rate jumps from like 68 beats per minute resting to 92. Combat ready. He's constantly scanning, checking sight lines, evaluating everyone. His body's basically screaming threat, even when there isn't one.
And then the world kind of gives him a real threat, or at least one he perceives that way. Deputy Collins. And this isn't just random police harassment. It's personal. It's a grudge.
Collins is an interesting mirror image almost. His brother was a Marine killed in action. But instead of respecting service, Collins has twisted that grief into this bitter vendetta against military guys. He looks at Jack and just sees another soldier thinking he's above the law. It's completely personal for him.
So the very first obstacle Jack hits in civilian life isn't some faceless bureaucracy. It's targeted hostility wearing a badge. Collins uses his authority to go after them, pulling them over aggressively just because of who Jack is or was.
Yeah, it's a really dangerous mix. You've got Jack already on edge from combat trauma. You've got Collins driven by his own warped grief. Pine Hollow becomes this pressure cooker. And right when Jack's dealing with this local problem, his paranoia gets a huge boost from, the federal government.
This is where it feels like any hope of a normal life just evaporates. They spot a suspicious dark sedan, which turns out to be FBI agent Chen's car, and then the smoking gun. They find a crashed drone on their property, and it's clearly marked property of the U.S. government.
For Jack, finding that drone, that's it. Confirmation. The threat isn't just local, it's official, it's everywhere. It shifts immediately from dealing with a problem cop to conducting a threat assessment. His SEAL instincts take over. A rational person might call a lawyer. Jack, he thinks tactically. He needs backup.
And the backup he reaches out to is Bear, the president of the Sons of Liberty Motorcycle Club. He's the guy who offered help earlier after Collins hassled them at Home Depot. But contacting an outlaw MC, even for perceived self-defense, is exactly what lights up the FBI's radar, right? It escalates everything from their perspective.
Exactly. It's the tipping point for the FBI, particularly for Agent Hawkins, who's leading this. They're not necessarily seeing Jack as just a vet. They see a highly trained operator showing signs of paranoia, now linking up with a group they consider criminal or potentially extremist. It's profiling, basically. Systemic failure.
So tell us more about Hawkins. What's driving his decision to ramp things up so drastically?
Hawkins is feeling pressure from above, definitely. And he's suspicious. He looks at Jack's skill set, the SEAL training, potential access to weapons, the MC connection, and he jumps to conclusions. Militia activity, maybe worse. He treats Jack like an enemy combatant, not like a veteran struggling with PTSD and being harassed. And that mistake leads him to deploy completely the wrong asset, HRT snipers. Agents Hank Morrison and a rookie, Lucas Evans.
Sending in snipers for surveillance, based on assumptions, that just sounds like a recipe for disaster, a huge fatal misstep.
It absolutely is. It's the point of no return. Because what happens next is just horrific. Marcus and his young son, Ethan, they're just in their backyard. Target practice. Ethan's got a little .22 rifle. Quiet, normal family stuff out in the country.
But Jack's world, the combat readiness, is always there, represented by Zeus, their German shepherd, trained just like them, and Zeus detects the hidden snipers.
And that's the spark. It unfolds so fast. The rookie sniper, Lucas Evans, he panics when the dog alerts, sees it as a threat, and shoots Zeus. Marcus reacts instantly. He sees his dog shot by an unseen attacker. He thinks they're under attack. He fires back in self-defense. Or maybe retribution for Zeus. Kills Agent Lucas.
Oh, God. The system failed, and now innocent people are paying the price. Agent Morrison, seeing his partner go down, reacts purely on instinct. Emotion. He fires back. And that shot hits Ethan, 10 years old. In that split second, Marcus's future is gone.
And it just keeps cascading.
Yeah.
Jack and Marcus grab Sarah, grab Ethan's body, try to get out of there. But who do they run into?
Deputy Collins.
Deputy Collins. He set up a roadblock.
Yeah.
Gun drawn. The local hostility that started all this now intersects violently with the federal disaster.
Gunfire again. And Sarah, pregnant Sarah, in the backseat. She's hit.
Yep.
Fatally.
Marcus, the trained corpsman, he desperately tries to save her, rushes back to the farm, tries field surgery right there on the kitchen table. But it's hopeless. She dies. So in just a few hours, Jack loses his friend's son, his own wife, his unborn child, everything. His entire reason for trying to build that new life. Gone.
The source material describes his grief turning immediately. Not just sadness, but white-hot rage. Incandescent fury. Especially when the official investigation comes back with this whitewash, blaming the whole thing on crossfire initiated by the suspects.
Total betrayal. The system didn't just cause it, it blamed the victims. For Jack, this is the ultimate proof. The law isn't just broken, it's actively malicious. That's the moment. He and Marcus just vanish. They go underground. They're now on a mission of pure vengeance. And they absolutely know it's probably a one-way trip.
They're fully tactical now, accessing weapons, gear. The source hints it's from a previous private contracting job. Shows how thin that line always was for them. And the plan is simple, brutal. Deputy Collins is first.
And they use their training for it. It becomes a series of calculated hits. Jack takes out Collins, ambush, Stark, close-up. Made it look like something else, a gang thing, maybe to throw off investigators.
But here's where you see the cost, the difference between them. Jack seems to get colder, more detached, just an instrument of revenge. Marcus, though, he's still in it, still loyal, but the source mentions him quietly vomiting after one hit. It's like he still feels the wrongness of it. Jack, maybe numb.
That contrast is really telling, because at the same time, the guy hunting them, Agent Hawkins, he's having his own crisis of conscience. He's leading the manhunt, but he's starting to see Jack differently, not just as a target, but as someone he wronged through his earlier decisions. He's looking at Ethan's picture, feeling the weight of it.
So Hawkins starts dragging his feet a bit, delaying reports, trying to prevent more bloodshed.
Yeah, subtly, trying to buy time, maybe hoping for a surrender, not a shootout. But his boss, the guy who originally authorized the sniper team, he wants them stopped. Orders Hawkins, shoot on sight. So now Hawkins is caught. His duty to the badge versus his dawning realization of the injustice.
And Jack and Marcus, they aren't just going after low-level guys anymore. Their final target is Hawkins' superior, the one who gave the order.
Right. It shows Jack's thinking. It's not just about the individuals who pulled triggers. It's about the command structure, the source of the failure. Hawkins figures this out. He knows Jack's mind by now. He anticipates the move.
Which leads to the final showdown. Hawkins confronts Jack, dark hallway, guns up. Hawkins tries to appeal to him, mentions Sarah, Ethan. Tries to reach the man Jack used to be.
But Jack's gone too far. He throws it back at Hawkins. How dare he talk about conscience after his orders got Jack's family killed? It's this incredibly tense moment. Duty versus vengeance. System versus individual.
And then chaos again. The target, the superior officer, panics. Starts shooting wildly, hits Marcus, wounds him badly. Jack reacts instantly, kills the target. Pure rage. But in the crossfire, Hawkins is hit too. And as he fires his own weapon, likely reflexively, he accidentally hits Marcus again. Marcus, who was already dying.
It's the ultimate Pyrrhic victory.
Yeah.
Jack got his revenge, but the cost is Marcus. His last connection to his old life, his brother in arms. He holds Marcus as he dies, and then Jack just gives up, surrenders. The source says he's numb and spent. The fire is out. There's nothing left.
But it doesn't end entirely there, does it? There's a final turn with Hawkins.
Right. Hawkins survives. And he's horrified by the whole chain of events, by his own role in it. He doesn't just file the arrest report. He tries to do something. He includes information in his report to lessen Jack's blame, points out the operational failures, and then he leaks it, sends evidence of the FBI's mistakes to a congressional oversight committee, risking his own career.
So one man trying to fix the system from the inside, even after it all went so wrong.
Yeah. And Jack, in prison waiting for sentencing, he gives Hawkins one last order, or maybe a plea. Make it mean something. Use this disaster to force change.
So when you look back at the whole arc, the combat trauma that made failure unacceptable, Collins' personal vendetta, Hawkins' critical misjudgment, the tragic deaths, you see how it all collided.
It's that clash, isn't it? Jack's sense of personal responsibility taken to an extreme, running headlong into systemic failure and corruption. He tried to enforce his own justice outside the law. Hawkins, having failed through the system, now tries to find redemption within that same system.
Which leaves us with a really tough question, the one the source pushes us towards. When the law fails you so completely, and taking revenge costs you absolutely everything, does Hawkins' final act, trying to force institutional change, risking his career, does that actually mean something, more in the end than Jack's path of bloody vengeance?
Or is it just, a gesture? Will the system just absorb the criticism, maybe slap some wrists and carry on? Was Jack ultimately right that it's irredeemably corrupt? Is it a path to real change, or just another scar that fades? Legacy versus futility. That's the question left hanging.
A really powerful question to think about. The true cost and meaning of justice, however you define it. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.